Welcome back, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce our second speaker of today. Tyrone Wilson is the founder and president of Cover6 Solutions. Tyrone is a former cybersecurity analyst for the U.S. Army, where he's developed security structures to ensure American intelligence systems were protected from foreign threats. Over to you, Tyrone.
Hey, everyone. How you doing? I'm so happy to be here. I want to thank the Hacker Halted folks for having me back. You may remember me from last year when I was fortunate enough to be a keynote speaker. For that talk, my main priority was to motivate, challenge, and inspire. Today, I'm going to try to tackle a new challenge right now, and it is one of my specialties. So today we're going to talk about how you can get started and get some hands-on cybersecurity experience using a free tool called Security Onion. A couple of things I want to put out first is just to be mindful that, we are all on a journey right now, no matter how long you've been on the industry. So just be aware of that and be supportive of individuals who may not be as technically advanced as you are, because you were at that point at some point as well. You're going to learn some things today that may or may not get you in trouble, depending on what you do. You will learn some offensive and some defensive techniques. Please only use these techniques on a network that you have explicit access and permissions to do that on. I also want you to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like I said, it is a journey. You will learn some things. It will be challenging, but I want you to kind of be aware of the challenge and also think of how that makes you feel when you're challenged. And I want you to think about, if you're the type of person that likes to work through those challenges, how do you handle those challenges? Do you have mentors that you can reach out to help you not waste time? Also, I want you to think about, the tools that we're going to use. And again, to reiterate, only use these tools when you are authorized to do so. A little bit more about me. You may remember this Who is Tyrone E. Wilson slide. And, I want to send a shout out to some friends that really helped me realize who Tyrone Wilson is. And one of these days, hopefully soon, you will also realize who you are and who you are meant to be. And whatever I can do to help you get to that point, I will. So I've been in the Army for over 20 years, all of it in IT. And about 2013, I was able to start a company called Cover6 Solutions, to where we do consulting, training, staffing, and recruiting. We have an MSSP program, and I also like to educate, mentor, and do community outreach on the side. One of those things, which happened to have exploded, and we're really, really excited because it's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It's DC Cyber Week here in my local area, and Hacker Halted all week. I started a meetup group called the DC Cybersecurity Professionals, or the DC Cyber Warriors, on Twitter. We are at almost 8,000 members, so we're really, really excited about that. We are the largest cybersecurity meetup group in the country right now. Join us. We're virtual now, and we've had some really great speakers on. So I am here today, and I tweeted about it earlier. You can find me on Twitter at TyWilson21. And one of the things that I want to solve is a problem that I hear about in almost all of the mentoring sessions, all of the meetups that we have, all of the panels. Every single day, I feel like I get the same thing, right? And that is, people will tell me that I can't get a job because I don't have experience, and I can't get experience because I don't have a job. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you work through that and gain some cybersecurity experience on your own, document that, show the world that you do have that experience, you do have this desire to do better, and then you also have this desire to help, the masses educate themselves as well. So our focuses for today will be about what security onion is, what are some of the hardware and software requirements, how to set it up and troubleshoot. We'll go through a couple of incident handling and response and threat hunting demos, and then I'll show you how to get some extra practice, some challenges, and then, we'll talk about some of the key points that I want you to keep in mind, whether you are challenging yourself with this tool or you're talking to a hiring manager or, a future employer. And then my closing remarks, of course, if you know me, I always like to end on a motivational note. I promise I won't get emotional in this presentation, even though it is some emotional times. Um, but hope, I do like to have my passion shine through my work. Security Onion, it is free. Yes, cannot believe it's free. There is a new version out right now. Doug Burks and the Security Onion team just released 2.0. I'm not going to talk about 2.0 right now. I believe the version that's on GitHub, I believe is 1.16.04 or something like that. Sorry if I got that wrong, but I'm dealing with the GitHub version right now. The new version requires 100 gigs worth of hard drive space. So we're not going to focus on that one right now. What I'm going to do is we'll talk security onion, but not at the organizational infrastructure level. It will be security onion, which is a Linux distro that you can set up at home or in the cloud. The cloud platform that we use is DigitalOcean. I will share a link that will get you $100 worth of credit on DigitalOcean. So you also have the ability to get a really good start. What is it? So it has the elk stack, what helps you ingest and index logs. You can parse those logs and you can visualize that data. If you've ever used Wireshark before, I want you to think of Security Onion as like Wireshark on steroids with a really great graphical interface and the ability to search for particular IP addresses or domains and things of that nature. Again, it is free. Some of the tools that we'll use today will be Squirt, which is your intrusion detection system. We'll briefly talk about CyberChef. On the back end, it uses Bro, now called Zeek, right? And then it has the ability to use snort signatures on the back end. So you can also learn about snort. But then it also has things like Wazoo, Squeal, Network Miner, Suricata on the back end. And it has a really good setup wizard to help walk you through those steps in case you were to get stuck. If you were going to set this up at home, typically what I would recommend is if you have, a server, like I have a couple Mac minis that are just off to the side that aren't doing anything, you can easily just download this ISO on a VM or a virtual hypervisor of your choice. Install this ISO, and you can just have this device or virtual machine running on your network, and it does nothing but listen to what's going on your network, and you can fine tune it to have different alerts by adjusting your snort signatures. We're not going to get into detail with all of that. This will just be, a real high level talk on how to make that happen. It only works with 64-bit processors, so keep that in mind. You will need to make some adjustments to your VM. You'll need 2 interfaces. So you need to install that second interface. The first interface will be your management interface, and the second interface will be your monitoring interface. And by monitoring, I mean it does nothing but listen. So be sure that you're not using NAT as a networking option. You're not using host to host as a networking option unless you're going to manually input those IP addresses. I always use the bridged option, so it will monitor everything on my local segment or my local network, or everything between me and the router. There are some software requirements. For CPU cores, there is an option to to use less, like a low. I think there's what's called a low. I want to say like a low CPU option there. 8 gigs of RAM, 20 gigs of hard drive space. But if you have additional space to allocate to it, by all means, throw that on there. By default, the configuration is to save the last 30 days of traffic, but you can always go in and adjust that. We mentioned DigitalOcean earlier. DigitalOcean has some really great ways for you to get everything set up and running. If you've never installed a server in the cloud before, it's really easy, really straightforward for the most part. But one of the cool things is that there's normally a user data option. So I put a little bit of code here that you can put inside of your user data option when you go to call it spinning up a new VM, and it will have everything pretty much installed for you. Only thing you would need to do is afterwards just run the setup a couple of times, make changes to the interfaces, the IP address, and the default gateway, and run the setup again. But those steps are pretty much straightforward. Really quick, if you want to write it down, that is for the $100 credit on DigitalOcean. We can send that out afterwards as well. Let's talk about the setup real quick. A little thing about me, I have a teach you, show you, involve you style that I use in all of my trainings, all of my workshops. So, and I was also a jujitsu instructor, so I like to talk about it first so you can try to visualize it, and then I will show you what that looks like so you can see it again. And then the involve you part is when I challenge you to make it happen on your own. So just to reiterate the install and setup, right? There's the ISO from GitHub. Run that ISO. This is if you're gonna install it at home. You're gonna run and do the install, reboot, run through the setup. The setup will have you identify what your two interfaces will be, reboot, run the setup again. Then that's when you update the software simply by typing sudo soup, or soup stands for security. I mean, update. You will just need to allow 443 on the firewall so you can manage it. So again, this is the setup at home. The previous page was the setup for GitHub. Like almost all of your machines, there will be some times where you will need to troubleshoot. With Security Onion, it's really easy for the most part. You'll just need to restart the Kibana service. If that doesn't work, you can restart all of the services. And then if you want to add another user, just really easy, so-user-add, provide a username and password, and you will be set to go. Let's talk about some of our primary tools. This is just if you are going to set it up at home. Normally, I try to use the student one and password one for the instances, but at home, Once you get it set up, you just go to your new security onion IP, log in, and then you will be able to get it up and running, and then you can start the demos that I'm about to show you. So again, I'm walking you through the demos, and then I'll show you them. The next tool we'll use is the Kibana tool. So that is for the threat hunting piece, and threat hunting is, by definition, a means to proactively search for malware and attackers on your network. We will use the Squirt tool to do the incident handling and response. And that is to respond either by a person or an organization to an attack. So what does that look like? We're going to come back to the slides really quick, but we have an instance running, so you can see what that looks like. I will try to, right, we should all be able to see that. So this is what your homepage will look like. You have your CyberChef, Squirt, and Kibana. When you finally log in to Kibana, you'll have a couple of options. Like I said, this is essentially, and I will try my best to zoom in and maximize. This is pretty much, like I said, your Wireshark on steroids, and it filters all of your services by name. So you can go and see all of your devices that have performed any SSH activity, RDP activity, HTTP activity. Sorry, you can also filter by time. So right now it's just the last 24 hours. But if I change my time filter to the last 5 years or all through all time, you can see that I have a number of logs, over 700,000 logs, that if you see my cursor, started back in June. One of the cool things about this is that for your threat hunting piece, you can actually add and save filters. So let's just say, for instance, you were looking at TrickBot activity, wink, wink, and you found through research, let's just say you are going to walk through that entire incident handling and response process, and you identified IOCs or indicators of compromise, or maybe one being an IP address. You can come here and you can do something like source underscore IP, either is one of, is not, is between, or we can say is one of these values. So you can put in multiple TrickBot IPs. You can either label it TrickBot, and I'm just going to throw in a random IP address and hit save. So once you grab all of those indicators, you can quickly use your filter to see if you've had any TrickBot activity according to these indicators of compromise within the last 5 years. And as you start adding filters, you can start saving these filters, and you can quickly, go back and forth to see what type of activity you are seeing on your network. Again, really, really cool, really, really free, capital F-R-E-E. So again, I'm addressing the fact that you can't get experience. Everything that I'm doing right now is totally free. Only thing you need to do is set the time aside, hook this tool up or a tool similar to this, and then start documenting your steps, start documenting your findings. Believe it or not, I recently had an interview question, and the interview question was to explain how TrickBot works. And I was trying hard not to laugh, and I was like, I teach TrickBot. And I want you all to have that same feeling when you all go into your interview and someone asks you that question. So this is Kibana. The next tool is Squirt. And I'm gonna continue to show you some really cool things on how to make this work. So right now, Squirt is the intrusion detection system that is going to essentially alert on different types of traffic that you're getting. Again, you can go and fine tune those alerts, but we won't do that just yet. So a couple of options that Security Onion has, and I will bring up my terminal really quick, is that Security Onion provides you the option to import and to replay Pcap files. So think about all the cool things that you can do knowing that you have that functionality now. Now you can go and just grab sample Pcap files that are on various websites, and I'll show you how to get those. Or, and this is the cool thing, is that you can actually create your own Pcap files using offensive techniques. For instance, say you're going to Phone Hub or Try Hack Me, or what's another good one? Hack the Box. Use Wireshark, capture the attacker activity that you are doing in Wireshark, save those PCAPs, and then import those PCAPs into Security Onion. So now you are essentially watching yourself hack yourself. So you're now learning offensive techniques and defensive techniques. So I've done many a talk about that. And so I'm happy that I can actually show you what that looks like. I have imported some PCAPs already. And guess what? One of them happens to be TrickBot. I got this from Brad Duncan he creates the malware traffic analysis. If you don't know who Brad Duncan is and you're trying to get into cybersecurity, or you want to be a SOC analyst, or you want to get familiar analyzing Pcap files, you should definitely know who he is. Shout out to Brad and the team. I can assure you there's a 95 to 99% chance that at some point in the technical portion of an interview, they're going to hand you a Pcap file and they're going to say, tell me what happened in this Pcap file. And you're going to say, okay. Normally, what you would try to do is open it up in Wireshark. Now, I would say, why do that? Grab that Pcap, import it to your Security Onion instance, either at home or in the cloud, and then issue the command, so import Pcap, and then you will import the Pcap file. So you have two options. You can import the file or you can replay the file. And it's a big difference. When you import the file, the timestamps will be the timestamps of the original file. So in our instance, if we run this, the timestamp will be from 2008, from December 7th, 2018. So what Security Onion will do is it will replay those PCAPs. If it triggered on any of the IDS alerts will show up in our Squirt tool, and you will be able to analyze it. I ran it so you can see what that process looks like, right? You can see the import is complete. You can actually go to this URL to analyze that Pcap, or you can go to the date range of December 7th, 2018. So what we'll do is we'll refresh our screens. We will go to December 7th, 2018, and now you can see all of the alerts that this TrickBot activity alerted on. So now you can see from the beginning that it started at 4, ended at around 8. So it's about 4 hours of activity. And you can literally walk through the entire infection simply by looking at the alerts that it triggered on. Another cool thing that you can do is you can actually drill down into these alerts. You can see that this one happened 13 times. Sorry if I can't zoom in, but this is the snort signature that it alerted on. You can see the source IP address, which is the indicator of compromise, the country that it originated from, and the destination IP address, which would be your host that you will probably need to do some incident handling and response procedures on. Drill down to this again. Like most IDS tools, right? What you can do, like most IDS tools, there'll be an associated Pcap file that you can actually do some analysis on. So we'll click on this first event ID, which is 5.1. And what Security Onion does is it allows you to see the Pcap, or you can use this hyperlink to actually download the Pcap file and then analyze this specific instance in Wireshark. Look at all of the hands-on experience that you're already getting already, right? And it's just the very first event, the very first Pcap, you know, like I so wish like we had all of this when I was coming up. We did not have all of these tools at our disposal. You do. Please, 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 please take advantage of that. One of the things that I regret is the time that I lost by not studying. I'm not saying that that needs to be your focus 100% of the time, but it is there. Like the world, especially in InfoSec, is your oyster. So that was the quick things that you can do. If you don't want to go back that far, what you could do is I have another traffic analysis exercise from 2014. But because it's from, I don't want to go back that far. So what I'll do with that one is that I'll just replay that one. So it will have today's timestamps on that. And the reason why I'm doing that is because Brad on the malware traffic analysis website creates these training exercises, and you can download those Pcaps, import those Pcaps, and you can try to answer those questions to give yourself practice doing analysis on Pcap files. Again, a resource that I didn't have growing up. So let's get back to the slides. We'll close it out and we will address any of the questions that you may have. All right, so some of the extra practices and challenges that you can get, like we mentioned, Brad and his team on the wireshark.org site. You can download some sample Pcap files from there. My students always get access to our instance of Security Onion in the cloud. I just leave it up there for the students and individuals that know about it. I'm presenting it to you. So you could just let me know um, either in a DM or something, I am more than happy to create an account for you. So now you don't even have to set it up. It's just one of the things that Cover6 does to give back to the community. We're more than happy to foot that bill. You can also go to Packet Total for some additional help with your Pcap analysis. And there's others, right? So there are some things that I want you to remember. And one is, how did you feel when you were putting this all together, right? How did you feel? Like, were you lost? Did you want to give up? Were you able to push through it? Hopefully you were, but I want you to like remember that feeling and take pride and take joy into those little wins, right? Small steps, great distances. It's like eating an elephant, right? One bite at a time, or 401k, right? Think of your training, think of your experience, think of everything that you're learning as your 401k. Right? It's not going to be there overnight. And also treat it like going to the gym, especially if you're just starting off. Like, don't try to spend 3 or 4 hours in the gym on your first day, but definitely go to the gym. Once you get there, like, your body's gonna make you do something, right? Just go. Um, Now you can speak to and say you have experience doing the following things. You can say that you analyze some of the worst malware TTPs that have ever been out. TrickBot, 250 million compromised email addresses, right? And if you're aware or have been aware, you know that there's been some new variants out recently. So now you're staying up to date, right? You're keeping track of all of your educational resources, like the Sans Internet Storm Center podcast, and your favorite RSS feeds, your favorite companies. Cover6, wink, wink. No, but seriously, for National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, I know that I'm behind. I've been putting out a tip every single day on my Twitter feed, so be sure to follow that. You can say that you perform some incident handling and response procedures. You're able to talk through that step by step. You're able to talk about the different tools that you use, security onion. I can assure you that if you tell me as a hiring manager, and I have been on the other side of vetting and identifying folks to get hired, if you tell me that you analyze TrickBot malware at home for fun, I'm gonna hire you, right? I don't care what you look like, what you're doing in your personal life, as long as you're not getting yourself in trouble or the company in trouble. That is amazing to me. So, um, some of my closing remarks. If you know me, embrace this journey, right? Embrace the struggle. Enjoy every single minute of the ride, right? It's going to be frustrating. But in the end, once you get over that hill and that light bulb starts to turn on, it's going to be an amazing feeling. Trust me. You may, like most people, feel like you don't know enough. 24 years in, I still feel like I don't know enough. But I want you to embrace that. And I want you to use that as your drive to continue to learn, right? Just keep going. Like I said, small steps, great distances. I got that from a motivational speaker I listened to, Eric Thomas. Just keep stepping, keep pushing, keep going. You will get there. but it's not going to be easy, right? You're going to need to make sacrifices. It's going to take a lot just to be halfway decent in this game. I live in the Northern Virginia, DC area. I can walk to the Pentagon if I want. As a matter of fact, I do it almost every morning. It's really competitive in this area. And there's been plenty of talks um, about what hiring managers look for and the demands and the requirements are outrageous sometimes. So, for the most part, you will need to take advantage of the relationships that you make. And by those relationships, I mean, like you've been in classes, right? There's hundreds of people here, you know, at this conference right now. Although it is virtually, there's chat functions, on the app. Reach out to people, reach out to strangers if you have to. Make those connections. You never know where all of these individuals are going to be 5, 10, 20 years from now. Take advantage of those connections. There's so many like-minded individuals here, right? Everyone, like if you're here, you have like the same vision for your journey. And seeing that vision come to fruition is, it's amazing. Um, Sometimes you feel like you're in heaven when everything starts to go right. Trust me, I know. Be confident in yourself. You do belong, no matter what anyone may say to you. You belong here, right? You can do it. Be confident in yourself. No one's going to believe it for you unless you believe it yourself, right? Don't forget that you can be whatever you want to be in this industry, right? Um, I had a brother that played in the NFL. I'll never be playing in the NFL. Only 1% of the world can be in the NFL. But 100% of us can be a CISO or CTO or an owner of a company or a CISO, sysadmin. Anyone can be that. And I will always, 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 always be here to help you. My DMs are always, always, always open on any of the social media platforms. You can connect with me here, either on Twitter or the company or the meetup group through Twitter or by email address. I will do all I can to help you. And now that leaves us time for Q&A. Should we have any? And I want to thank the Hacker Halted team for having me once again. I want to thank you all for attending. I want to thank the Cover6 team for helping us get to where we are. Anyone that has ever attended a meetup, thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyone that has ever supported me for the Cover6 mission, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that is all I have.
Hey, Tyrone, you can do some
Yes.
Q&A if you like.
Sure, sure.
And I don't know, did you want me to read those questions off to
Yes,
you?
yes.
Or do you
Oh,
have
yes,
your Q&A
please. Oh, yeah,
box?
I do have the box. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Let's see. Yes. Okay. Let me get this. Yeah. Yes. I can
You have
post the
about 5 minutes,
slides.
so go
Okay.
ahead and
No
answer as
problem.
many you can in 5 minutes.
Okay,
Awesome,
sure thing.
thank you.
Is it different than a SIM tool, a SIEM tool? It is probably your first introduction to a SIM tool. It's not as robust as Splunk, but then again, if you wanted to have a SIM tool like Splunk, you can. Splunk is also free for the first 500 megs, and we also have a Splunk box in the cloud, Splunk.cover6.training. Let's see, what else do we have? The website was onion.cover6.training. Have I worked with Suricata and Snort? Yes, I have. Not in great detail enough to talk about it right now. My apologies for that. Preference, Elastic or Splunk, they're totally different ways that they index the information. So it just totally depends on how you want to search through your data inputs, right? So do I have experience with Bro? It's actually called Zeek now. Yes, so you can enter some really rudimentary, simple Zeek commands, and what it does is what it will do is you get a Pcap file, you enter your Zeek command for the file, and then what it does is it creates separate logs. So there'll be like an HTTP log, a connection log, so it kind of breaks down your Pcap file into the separate logs so you can analyze it in different places. Barton Field, how many times have I run around it? So many. Camo, Signal, Hua. Question, what does the binary on my sides translate to? I promised you all I wasn't going to get emotional. But someone asked me, so the binary is a shout out to my daughter. So I put it in all of my slides, and it's also in my company logo. So whenever I think about, giving up, it's my daughter's name. So I'm constantly looking at her and saying hi to her in almost everything that I do. Yeah, so you're very welcome for the slides. I am not familiar with Kubernetes at all. It's one of the things that I want to get started with. Ian Coldwater, definitely go and try to find her or some of her talks. How do we incorporate it using Google Wi-Fi and the router mesh? O'Shea Bowens, he goes by Sir Mudblood. He actually did a talk on our site where he was setting Security Onion up at the organizational level. So you can go and find that on our website, Cover6Solutions.com. Oh, so sorry. Resource sizes to the hardware, such as the server. I said the minimum requirements, 64-bit, 4 gigs of RAM. No, I'm sorry. 20 gigs of hard drive space, 4 gigs of RAM. If you want to allocate more, you can. On the cloud, our instance is just $20 a month. You can probably do it for $5 a month if you wanted to. So with the code, that's 23 months of Security Onion for you. Yes, just let me know when we are getting close. No, I'm not. Well, the Elk stack, all of that. Well, Elasticsearch, Logstack, and Kibana. Yes, I have, but not individually. Only with Security Onion. Do I know of a free subscription to Security Onion? No. SecurityOnion.net. Shout out to Doug Burks and them. Definitely go and check them out. and I believe I addressed them all. Do I need network sensors? You can, depending on the size of your network, you can set this up as a sensor, or as the server. Like I said, O'Shea did a really good job talking about that and setting this up at the organizational level. And yeah, I want to thank you all so much for all of the support that you've given me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tyrone. Always inspiring to hear you. I know you had the Hacker Halted audience last year in tears, so it's always great to hear from you. And thank you for taking the time to visit with us today. And everyone, as Tyrone has said, we do have our event platform. We have our wall for you to network. It's a great opportunity for you to reach out, help each other, if not, help each other get connected to someone that might be able to help them in their career or their path in cyber. We have a few minutes before our next presenter, so we'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. Grab a drink and take a break, and we'll see you shortly. Thank you.